Episode 35. Winker, you've been MIA, buddy.
Good morning.
Good morning, Miami.
I come to you,
Marlins Nation,
from the land of the unrepentant cheaters.
Houston.
I was in Houston for the weekend.
Oh, look at they're undefeated right now. How's that possible?
I was just going to tell you, they are baseball crazy. They love those. It's that us versus them mentality,
right?
And I was there with a bunch of Houston fans, and they showed the A's game was about to start, and there was a little kid, and the little kid had a miniature. It just shows him on the screen.
Mm-hmm.
He has the miniature garbage can and a drumstick.
Oh, sweet.
And those Houston fans went bonkers.
Oh, I bet.
And I watched a lot of.
It's like the rally monkey. Anytime you bring him out, people go nuts.
It was funny watching those games with, and I told those Astros fans, I was like, I have been watching your sorry Astros all spring training.
Yeah.
And it looked like a different team, dude.
Yeah,
They're playing really good baseball.
Yeah. I mean, well, it's only 3 games.
I know, but
so
still,
I'm not going to freak
they
out.
came out of the chute.
Yeah, I hope they lose
just
the
in
rest of
fuego.
the games.
I know exactly, but they came out on fire, and it's
Right.
it's such a lesson about what spring training is about. And that brings us to our Marlins. You were there at opening day.
I was there opening day, and then I had my buddy Jimmy Garcia come on, who was also there for that game. The stadium was awesome. The experience was really, really good. The problem with it is the masking situation while you're seated. I think once you're seated, you got to be able to take it off. And there was some policing of that going on. But then as the game wore on, I think it kind of diminished.
And it's interesting you say that, because when I was at Hard Rock for a Canes game, I mean, that was in the middle of everything. They policed it. You had to have it on, like unless you were like there was.
Yeah. So basically, I was drinking the whole game. That's the only way you're allowed to not have it. So yeah, one after the other, like power chugging.
And at spring training, which was open.
Right.
Open air. They were not really in.
Well, they were at Jupiter a little bit more than they were at the
you're right.
Parks of Palm Beaches. The Parks of Palm Beaches, there was nobody said anything about it. Once you got in and sat down, you were good. Yeah. But at Jupiter, at Roger Dean, they were kind of policing it a little bit.
I'm going to ask you what I always ask you is, the Dan Levitar, what do we know to be true about the Marlins?
Bullpen sucks.
It's almost like we haven't missed a beat.
It was like a flashback to the old days when you got it like on Friday.
Epic collapse.
When you're up 4-2 going into the 9th inning and you lose 6-4, that's not good. And everybody's talking about, oh well, we shored up the bullpen, and I was one of the ones saying it with Anthony Bass, with Detweiler, with Simber, with all these other guys, and it just seems like the guys that we're relying on to be the Anthony Bass, the guy that we're really relying on to be the closer, fell apart. But then got back on the horse on Saturday and did exactly what he's supposed to do. So, listen, I think things are going to happen. I just hope they don't happen as frequently as they have in the past.
I think the answer is to that question is we don't know anything. Like
we know nothing.
What I watched the games. I couldn't believe how cold the bats were. How do you come on opening day and score 0 runs?
2 guys had hits. There were 3 total hits on day 1.
But at the end of the weekend, the bats. I don't think we need to worry about our bats. I think we need to worry about our pitching.
Yeah. And then we got guys hurt.
Not
you
our
got
starting pitching.
Yeah, you got Sixto injured. He did an MRI. He's got some shoulder inflammation. Now Eleazar Hernandez is also
he's got
injured.
Inflammation.
So what that means is, I think it's either Danny Castano or Nick Neidert are going to be elevated to the bigs.
Step up.
Yeah, and probably Neidert, to be honest.
I mean, what a way to start. Think about if you're Mattingly and you start, 6-0 out. It's just
then your number 3 guy out, and now you're only running a 4-man rotation anyway. Now we got to go down.
What Hernandez is like? They yanked him. His velocity went down. Did you see that?
Yeah.
Like 8 miles per hour. It's like they had to pull him.
Yeah.
It was like, wow.
But listen, here's one thing that the takeaway, because the game 1 of the series, Starling Marte looked horrid. 0 for 4, maybe 0 for 5.
And looked
like he was out of sync. Not grooved in at all. But then day 2 and 3, he lit it up. And now it makes me think like, look, we're talking about guys that we need to bring to the table to get signed. Anderson, Marte, we got to do it because that he's going to be a free agent.
Yeah.
Next season. So.
Yeah, he's playing for his big contract here.
And we're not going to be able to afford that, whatever that is.
How about our base stealing leader?
I mean, Jazz Chisholm. He's wicked, bro. And listen, we talked about him all season. Why he should be the one versus Diaz. Now there's no doubt.
I gotta tell you something. I love everything about that guy, from his blue hair on opening day to like. I
think it's going to stay blue. I don't think it's going to change.
I love the energy he brings.
He's on fire, man. He's on fire, and his bat's on fire. His speed's on fire. His defensive skills are really, really good. I like that kid. Yeah. I think he's the future of Marlins infield. Yeah, for sure. But now you're going tonight. Let's talk about
tomorrow.
Some of the.
I'm going tomorrow, but tonight, we start a series against the Cardinals.
Yeah, it's Ponce de Leon versus our only left-hander, Trevor Rogers, who I have 100% confidence in. We played against Ponce de Leon in spring training. Yep. I don't have any fear of that guy.
Yep.
So we'll see what happens.
It's funny that we're starting. You know, it was again. What do we know to be true? Tampa's a good baseball team. Tampa Bay's a good baseball team.
Yeah.
And the Cards are a good baseball team.
Even though they have a bunch of no-name guys.
Yeah.
But their pitching is pretty good. And their outfield, Kiermaier's he's one of the best in the business in the outfield. I like that guy.
What did you think watching Tampa Bay? What was your takeaway?
They're the same team as they were last year.
Yeah, they're good.
They're gonna be a threat.
Yeah.
They're gonna be a threat.
That's how I felt. I mean, not that we are, and no one has any interest in just like being competitive, but like we didn't get embarrassed by Tampa Bay, and Tampa Bay is a good team. And then I got to tell you,
we got embarrassed on Friday.
Yeah, well, with the collapse. But here's my thing: now we play the Cardinals, and if we get blown up by the Cardinals, like that will say something because we beat up on the Cardinals. Mm-hmm. We beat up on the Cards during spring training.
Yeah.
So what has changed? If we can't, it'll be interesting to see.
Well, what has changed is we lost 2 pitchers, so. That's a big change. But now we're going to go with Rogers, and then Sandy's going to pitch tomorrow. You'll get to see him. Look, both of those guys, Pablo Lopez and Sandy, in their outings, they went 6.
You're just confident you're going to get 6 innings.
Gems, but now you got to have the guys behind them to be able to.
No, it's like a broken record. I mean, this is what it was last year. It was just, and then it's just cobbling together.
Now, listen, if we score enough runs to hold it on, hold them at bay, then we're good.
Yeah.
But because that bullpen has the potential to explode.
Game 1, think about it. You can't win baseball games when you don't score a run.
Right.
Like enough. Like
and I knew that home run was gonna happen because I saw him get hit to the track 2 times, and I look over in the bullpen. I'm like, nobody's in the bullpen warm because this guy needs to come out now. Yeah, I mean, I could have gone in there and not given up a bomb.
Speaking of home runs, did you see Ohtani's?
Yeah. He threw 100 miles an hour and then exit velocity, 106 or 116.
And anyone listening needs to go get the video.
Superhero.
The sound of that hit, like pitchers should not make that sound when they hit the ball.
No,
that was unbelievable. That's what they say. He's like Babe Ruth that can throw 100 miles per hour. Like he really is. I got to tell you something. He's one of the most exciting, and he got hurt last year. He is. I have just been fascinated by him. I'm always fascinated when these stars come from the Japanese league. Like I just find it interesting. I think it's cool. And he is the real deal. And it's interesting because what they've been saying with him is what do you do with him? How do you bring him along? What do you want? What do you want from him?
Mm-hmm.
Because he's a unicorn. Who can
he needs to be in the National League.
Yeah, I mean, who can hit like that? Exactly, that's the thing. And now we're going to get rid of. It's funny to think about the big debate about the designated hitter.
Right?
Would you agree? A majority of baseball fans probably just want to go DH.
Yep.
And then here you have an Ohtani. I mean, I don't want to take.
I'm still a purist. I think pitchers.
It's almost like if we're going to do it, wait till Ohtani's out of the league. Right. I want to see Ohtani bat.
Right. Otherwise, you got to pinch hit him on his off days.
No, he has been designated hitting. That's what I was saying. That's the thing about him as a pitcher is they were almost as a gimmick DHing him,
right?
Because he's a good DH, but it's like it's too much, right? He's gonna get hurt.
You don't want to risk the chance of losing
you don't want
that arm,
pulling a hammy, running out of ground ball or something. But it is amazing. It's a real treat to watch him.
No doubt. So while you were gone, I had some pretty crazy guests. I had Jackson Mazur, the kid from Oregon, who's a big.
He was awesome.
He was in Arizona at spring training, watching some teams out there. You got to see a bunch of games. Really smart kid. Had Dave Arbetter.
Yep.
Lee Sterling. I had Dave Bruner from Chunks Smoked Fish.
I saw him
to come on to talk about tailgating with the smoked fish and conch salad and all that. And he's a big sports fan guy. And then I had Jimmy Garcia, who was at opening day with me on Friday, to talk about that. And it was kind of like a technical difficulty show because he was driving up to somewhere.
Yeah.
He was in Orlando or some Orange County somewhere. So it was coming in and out. But that guy is a Miami-Dade College baseball guy.
Yep.
Really good ball player back in the day and is really knowledgeable about the game. So he's a good guy to bring on here and there. We can Zoom him in or we can bring him in the studio, but he knows his baseball, and it's good to have another voice.
Well, this week I'm going to get on. I'm going to have an Astros super fan on this week, and I'm going to have we're going to get Grabkowski to give us our long overdue Mets update.
Okay.
And I should have him on tomorrow because we're going to the game together.
Yeah.
Or maybe we'll do it on Wednesday.
All right.
After the game, so he can give you his impression.
Yeah, and we got some open slots, so it could be in the afternoon or wherever. He can just zoom in and call or come into the studio, whatever. So tonight we got our lefty Trevor Rogers, who did not disappoint in spring training. Pretty confident in that guy.
To get off baseball.
Did I give some fake news when I posted that Bartolo Colon signed by the? That was actually posted somewhere.
Yeah, that was funny.
In my feed. I'm like, what?
That's funny.
He's in the Mexican leagues.
Yeah.
Like, doesn't he play for the Charros? Where what's his name?
Exactly.
One of those teams. Yeah,
it's funny. That's one thing you see in Houston. It was funny when I was
there.
Kenny
Powers played for the Charros.
You see some Mexican ball caps. Guys have the Mexican League ball cap.
They're pretty cool.
I saw a guy with it. And then one of the people I was hanging out with, I can't remember what the connection was, but some family member owned a baseball team in Mexico for a while. She grew up watching like the Mexican League. And to get off baseball for a second, did you see Gonzaga, UCLA?
I did.
What do you think?
They got lucky to get out of that.
Yeah. I got to tell you something. I loved
that kid is awesome though.
That 24.
Yeah.
What's his name? Yeah.
Suggs. Yeah. Jalen Suggs, I think is his name. And I heard he was as good a football player as he did basketball.
I know. It was really interesting watching. That was. I mean, I saw my tweet. I wouldn't go this far, but people were saying like that was the best sporting event they'd ever seen, and it was good. It was very interesting seeing. Like I'm not a UCLA fan at all. And I love that dynamic of like Gonzaga was just dominant, and Gonzaga was it was constantly UCLA trying to hang on and fighting back. And I love that intestinal fortitude or that, like, where do you get that from? Where like, you're down 8, you're down 10, and you just keep grinding it back. And it just made me think of these Marlins and what the season's going to be like for them. Like, they just got to show up every day.
Yeah, we just got to get those arms healthy and get that bullpen.
But here's the thing. You almost as a team, you almost have to recognize your weakness. Like, if you're a hitter, if you're Jazz, and it's like, we have to, like, you gotta get these stolen bases. You gotta get some runs.
Small ball is going to be part of the game plan.
You gotta help we know what our weakness is, and we gotta score runs.
Right.
And I gotta tell you,
manufacture them whatever way we can.
And watching Houston, like, just pile it on, man. Like, they were scoring 8 runs a game, and it was really, it'll be interesting to see what these Marlins can do to put it together, because we're gonna have, I think, a redux of last year. Yeah. And the way that they were successful was scoring runs. However you got to do it.
That's it. And so you got 6-10 start for the Marlins tonight. And then right after that, 9-10 start for 9:20.
Then we got
the basketball game.
I got to tell you something. When I heard that
9:20.
When I heard that start time, it was funny being out. I was out in California, as you know. And it was funny, that 3-hour time difference makes such a difference, especially with the sporting events. And it's like, I sound like such an old man. Like, on a Monday night at 9:30, I'm going to bed.
Oh yeah, sure.
It's amazing,
crazy.
So we'll be staying up late tonight.
Good day for sports today.
How did you feel being at the game? There was a lot of nationwide opening day return to normalcy feeling.
Oh man, just to hear the ball hit the glove. to hear the bat hit the ball. Not that we hit it that much that day.
Didn't hit it that much.
Right. But seriously, just being back at the ballpark kind of gives you a little bit of hope that this is kind of finally subsiding and we're going to, move on to the next phase. So that's it. I'm looking forward to tonight's game at 6:10, and then you're going tomorrow. I might go Wednesday.
Cool.
Yeah. So, but that's a 4:10 start, so I'm gonna have to ask the boss if I can leave early. Yeah.
Denise, thank you.
You're amazing.
As usual.
Episode 35, Mainline
In the
Marlins
books.
podcast in the books. Hit it.